snacks.
What it do, snackers, snackettes, and snack X's? It's your boy Gage. I'm here with Sin.
Yes, sir.
Jokes is on the way.
Mm-hmm. Check it out. Look who is on time.
Get out of town, bro. Hell has frozen over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? What up, K Dizzle? What's up, Ty? You are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today, Sin. Today is a very special day. This is the Loading Snacks Weekly Fighting Game Special. Extravaganza, if you will.
Okay. I'm here for it.
Coming out of the weekend, we had Evo, which is the biggest fighting game tournament on the planet. And although we could talk about who won, who lost, and how that went, we're not. But we are going to talk about the myriad of announcements that came from there. And we are going to talk about our fighting game histories, our favorites, our most hated. We're going to dig into it. So buckle up, because it's going to be a good one. I'm pretty sure. But before we do that, Sin, you have Jokes' job to do.
Done.
My man. Beacon's link is live for all of you out there to easily follow us across all of our socials, including our newest, which is Kick, which is a new streaming platform. You know, we're trying out because Twitch is tweaking. Look, we got to go where the folks are. We're going to see what's up there. It didn't cost us anything to have one, so we got one. That's how that
right.
Out. You know what I'm saying? But it also will allow you to check us out on Patreon. Sin, you have another job to do.
Yes, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, and Ellis Mbe. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
There is no doubt about that. We absolutely appreciate all of you. You help keep us doing what we're doing, and are helping it get better all the time. Sin.
Yo.
How much of the news coming out of Evo or announcements have you already seen or are you aware of?
Nada.
Come on, bro.
Dead serious, bro. Nothing. Like this weekend was all
wrestling
and anime. That was this whole and Twisted Metal. It was just catching up on some of that. Yeah, it was all that stuff. Yeah, catching up on that. So I didn't focus on anything Evo related, social media related like that. Yeah, I was catching up.
Yeah, but I know you saw at least a Tekken 8 reveal or two, because I didn't
know. At the time, I didn't know it came from Evo. I just thought they've been releasing a character. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was just a new character release. I was like, oh, I gotta send this one to the group.
So here's the thing. Before we get into the Evo news, I want to talk about what happened like yesterday. So yesterday, a tweet came out from Xbox, Microsoft, and so forth, stating that they were working again with Iron Galaxy to do an update for the 10th anniversary of Killer Instinct.
Okay.
So if you recall, when Killer Instinct made its comeback, which was almost, I think, 2 decades in the making,
right? Yeah,
between 2 and when Killer Instinct came out on Xbox One. Xbox One was 2013, and Killer Instinct, I think, was either right at the end of 2013 or in the early mid 2024. So the tweet basically was that if you remember, originally Double Helix was who they had working on Killer Instinct. Originally, Killer Instinct was done by Rare, who Microsoft owns, so they own the IP. They had Double Helix do the initial game. Double Helix was snapped up by Amazon, like while
Okay.
they're working on Killer Instinct. So they were no longer able to do Killer Instinct.
Right.
Which is a tricky move. That's a little tricky. I find it funny that like the internet didn't react to that the way. Can you imagine if like Microsoft bought like a studio that was working on something specifically for PlayStation, even if PlayStation didn't own them, while they were working on it?
I can see the steam coming out the fanboys' ears right now.
But yeah, so Amazon snatched them up while they were working on it, and so they did the original release, the first season, and then the second season they had to find somebody to back them up and to do that work, and so that was Iron Galaxy.
Okay.
And Iron Galaxy, after doing that, most recently was working on Rumbleverse. But if you recall,
they shut that
Rumbleverse got
yeah,
shut all the way down.
As much as jokes loved it, they shut it down.
Well, last thing I saw about Rumbleverse, I started to say something about this last week. They did announce like last week or maybe the week before that Rumbleverse was getting like dedicated servers on PC. Like if people just wanted to get in and play,
okay,
they were going to have servers that people, I guess, could just pay for and they could just keep Rumbleverse all they wanted. But again, even Rumbleverse was technically, I mean, that was a EA game.
Yeah.
So Iron Galaxy was working on that, and they've done some side stuff for other people and so forth. But yeah, it says that they're gonna be back working on it. Okay. So I said, you know what? Let me boot up Killer Instinct real quick today. So I did.
Okay. And what did you find?
Nothing originally because it had like a 3.5 gig update that I had to do.
Okay.
Now it hasn't been that long since the last time I played. I mean, long. I mean, it's been a while, but like. You know, it had updates. So I was like, let me see what they're doing. I have no idea what the update was. But, you know, they added a lot of stuff to that game. I think well after the general public had really stopped paying attention to it. But the hardcore fan base was still in. You know, they went back and added in like Kim Woo and characters from like the second Killer Instinct, General Ram. They added Gargos. They added like Idol, and then some other characters. That whatever. Do you think there's a possibility that we'll see another Killer Instinct? I'm gonna say before this console generation ends.
I'm going to say it'll be with the next set of consoles.
All right, so not before this, but you think we'll see another one? It just won't be.
I think we'll see another one. I think seeing how this year plays out with all these fighting games coming out this year, or at least close, you know what I mean? By the end of the year, maybe in January, whatever. Mm-hmm. By the time they come out and people and Microsoft sees the response and just the reception and all that kind of stuff from, I think they'll think about, all right, let's go ahead and do another Killer Instinct and kind of roll it out like they did before. I think so.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the importance of finding the right team to be able to work on it, right? I think that the teams that worked on it did a pretty solid job. I don't think it felt quite like the old ones did, but it still felt good. Like it still felt good to play. The combos and stuff were still cool. It definitely sounded right. It's a beautiful game. Like when you look at it, one of the things they talked about updating was like bringing it all the way up to like full, like 4K support for Series X and S. So we'll see what that means. I think if they get a decent enough response from that, then maybe we see them do something with Killer Instinct. I think Killer Instinct is one of those. Was a really solid fighting game that just kind of lost out there. I'm calling for an announcement at Gamescom, like in a couple weeks, Rod. Like,
nah, I don't got that.
I feel like that's too soon, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just now. Now, I can see them maybe doing some more specifics if they're going to do some more fanfare around the fact that it's the 10th anniversary of this version of Killer Instinct. Can't play about to be Spider-Verse. Hey, listen, enjoy yourself. Did that earlier today myself a little bit. I couldn't let it pass. So I think that's a little too soon though. Again, I think they could. I think we might see some more details coming out of Gamescom because Xbox is planning super hard for Gamescom. So we'll see what that really means. Mm-hmm. But I just thought I like if they were to do another one, saying I guess what's your history with Killer Instinct? I mean,
zero.
You don't care at all.
Like I remember that. I remember growing up. That was like your thing. Like I never got into Killer Instinct. I never really tried. I might have played once or twice in the arcade because it was a new fighting game. Something when it first came out. But my real time really getting into and playing it was when they released this new one. When they did that.
Really?
Yeah, I never was. Some just didn't. As much as I love fighting games, something just didn't connect me. Now I could watch it and watch people get hit with 500 hit combos and be boosted. Ultra, all that stuff was science, but for some reason, I said to this new one, I just couldn't connect to get into it for whatever reason. I don't know why.
So I don't think I realized that because I played. I mean, obviously, I played a lot of it in arcade. I played a lot of it on SNES.
Yeah, I never had on any of the consoles. Yeah,
and then definitely played KI Gold on the 64. Played a ton of that. And then oddly enough, dog, when I went away to school, like when I went away to college, they had they had a KI arcade machine in the McKeldin Center, which is basically kind of like a break study area or whatever that they had at the school. That was like, I get walking distance from everything or whatever, but so they had one there, but I also had my SNES, there, and so we like somehow, bro,
got it in,
it just turned into like everybody, dog. Cinder, Fulgore, Orchid, Jago, like we just like we were.
What was the Indian dude? Tomahawk Thunder or something? Chief Thunder. That's what I ended up using in this reboot of it. For some reason,
funny because
me and Chief got busy.
Hey, listen, let me tell you something. On some old school 90s, though, we used to call Slim Chief Rocker. We used to call him Chief Rocker, the one Chief Rocker. Yeah, so Ty said played that joint every morning for free by the water park when I worked at Adventure High School. My man said Adventure World.
I know, right? Throwback.
Whoa, boy. Yeah, that joint. I mean, here's the thing. I think I just loved the sound, but the combo system. Once you understood like how it worked, incredible, dog. And then like the combo breakers and whatever, like it just has a.
That was
in terms of a fighting game.
The werewolf dude. That was the other person I used. Okay.
Who?
The werewolf.
Saberwolf.
Yes, them two.
Saberwolf.
Steve and like Saberwolf were the two people I used. Yeah.
Saberwolf was like that.
Yeah.
That joint just had like, in terms of like a fighting game engine, it was honestly the only 2D fighter that.
What up, Alfonso?
Wasn't Mortal Kombat. What's up, Alfonso? It like had its own engine. It had its own engine that had its own way of working, where everything else was just a Street Fighter clone,
right? For
the most part, right? Mortal Kombat kind of had its own thing with like pure like back forwards, down forwards instead of like rolling, whatever. So Killer Instinct was one, it just looked completely different from anything else because they were using that like Silicon graphics engine. And it had that like Donkey Kong Country kind of like 3D, 2D thing going on.
Hey,
and nothing else looked like that. What's up, Kai? And then just the speed of it, like I feel like that game was faster. What's up, Glenn? I feel like that joint was faster. It was fast before I feel like Street Fighter 2 Turbo got stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just Alfonso. It just something about the timing and understanding and getting it. And once you could pull off those combos, dog, and then you knew how to hit that ultra at the end, bruh. And it's like you could like
the music that go with it. Do.
Oh my God. Like pulling that joint off, and then like for real, just putting the controller down and let him whoop you because you couldn't do nothing was like better than like that joint was just like, and then just having my man scream, "Oh, truck, come!"
Yeah,
You just be like, yeah, bro. Like it just, yeah. And it was one of those things like in the arcade. Like if you did that to somebody, everybody in the arcade knew.
Disrespectful.
I don't care. So disrespectful.
And you would hear from the other side of the arcade.
Exactly, bro. Like if you were in the arcade doing even like having like a Mortal Kombat arcade yell fatality or whatever, nothing compared to having that joint scream like that. Yeah, that KI, man, like you will be playing something else and hear and be like, oh, somebody getting whooped, right?
Yep.
Like getting whooped.
All the way in the back of the arcade, Ultra! Like somebody getting whooped over there.
Like, whoop, somebody just got mollywopped.
Yep.
Bro. Yeah, so like I do actually have a lot of love like for Killer Instinct. I was excited to see it come back. I wasn't super happy with what they did with it. I think they did the best they could, was kind of, you know, refreshing it and so forth. And I do think the joint was really solid. But I feel like I would have liked to see maybe some newer or some better characters. Some, you know what I mean? Some new developments or something like that. Yeah. Just happen along with it. I'd be excited to see a new one if they did another one. I feel like there's a part of me that feels like with Microsoft getting their hands on all of these teams that are under Activision, there's somebody else besides Iron Galaxy that could like take a real solid crack. You know what I mean? At doing it. Or I think, you know, Microsoft just scoops up Iron Galaxy too. Yeah. Listen, start a combo and just go until you turn it into an ultra. They're the best kind. They were the best. So like I am a little excited to see that they're at least are showing enough respect for the franchise to do something special or try to do some sort of an update for the 10th anniversary of this release, even if all it really is maybe a netcode update and, you know, again, a 4K update for the newer consoles, I think will be pretty solid. So,
and depending on how that goes, they see like the uptake and people playing it and all that kind of stuff. They might go into also them doing a part 2. So,
100%. And I guess it'll be about, you know, them seeing what Iron Galaxy does and figuring out whether or not it makes sense to put them on it. I think that they would be making a mistake and or doing themselves a disservice to put another team on a game like that where they don't own that team. Because the same kind of thing could happen. Anybody could come by and swoop them up, you know, whatever. And so I do think that there was probably a much better plan in place for what they were intending to do with Killer Instinct when they had, you know, Double Helix working on it, because I think they did do a really great job with it. And then to have that team just purchased by Amazon and then moved away, and now it's like, well, what's Amazon even doing with
them? Like, but I'm with you with Activision. There's so many studios they've just, you know, acquired that they can easily sit down at the table, look what everybody's doing, look what everybody's done, and be like, all right, we think they would be the best fit for Killer Instinct. Let's sit down and talk with them about it. So I can see that being a thing.
You know what, dog? Curveball.
Okay.
And this is like really.
I'm pretty sure we'll get into that at some point, Alfonso.
We're definitely getting ready to get into this Mortal Kombat. But
sure, curveball. Let's go.
Because you just said that, if you remember, there's a studio called Raven Software.
Yeah.
That got swooped up by was already working with Activision, was owned by Activision, and then they basically got folded into the teams that got stuck working on Call of Duty. But that team is the team, looks like Jokes got here. That team is the team that did X-Men Legends.
Okay.
And I was thinking,
don't play with me.
I would love, bro.
Don't play with me.
Listen, and here's the thing. Marvel and the MCU, like, they are being very particular and shopping really hard to put games out there. Like, think about it for a second. Obviously, PlayStation has their thing with Spider-Man, but they also now have Wolverine, right? Like 2 major exclusives.
Yeah.
What's important and I think special about Wolverine, what up, Jokes? That I don't think people realize is how big of a deal that Wolverine game is going to be when it coincides with them reintroducing Wolverine into the MCU and how popular that character is going to become again. Like, there's a resurgence in popularity for Spider-Man that is like no other because there are so many Spider people, right?
Yeah.
But bringing Wolverine back and them having a game that's in line to be, listen, for them to be able to pull costumes from the old movies, the new movies and stuff, like if you think about all the costume stuff they did with Spider-Man,
same thing with Wolverine.
It's going to be kind of crazy, right? And I bought that that X-Men game that came out not too long ago.
The Midnight Suns. Midnight
Suns.
Yeah.
It was on a super sale.
I remember.
I copied it. It's cool. It's pretty good looking. It's not action. But again, it's one of those things where it's like Marvel is allowing things to kind of happen with their IP in the video game world where they're just kind of like, we're looking for the right studios to kind of do the things that make the most sense. I would love a new X-Men Legends. And for them to do an X-Men Legends that has the older and new characters, for Raven Software to be under the Microsoft banner, and for Microsoft to need an answer for the IP that PlayStation has that are exclusive to their platform, bro, and X-Men Legends would be...
Bro, if they give us X-Men Legends, it's going to be a problem with Rogue and Colossus all over again, bro.
Crazy. What?
They couldn't stop us with that combo, bro.
What? Bro, I would. But here's the other thing that's very interesting about that is there are several games, and again, we getting a little off, but because we kind of in here. So I don't know if you saw this like 2 weeks ago when after the whole FTC thing like went through. Now the CMA is working on their bargaining. I don't know if you saw, but like today or yesterday, New Zealand approved
came through
100% of the Microsoft deal, right? So there was a tweet that came out from like Hasbro, okay, saying that they hope basically that now that Microsoft has control of it or will have Activision, that they'll be able to release the old Transformers games like War for Cybertron.
I've seen that in the game
because apparently like there was a rumor or whatever, they lost the hard drives or they couldn't find it or something like that. And they're like, that's not true. We have the hard drives. We just nobody knows where the hard drives are, which is crazy. Nobody knows where the hard drives are. But we have them. But they're like, we want to be able to put those games back out.
Okay.
A new X-Men Legend would be dope, Alfonso, for sure.
I'll take the second one just so we can finally beat it.
If Activision and Hasbro are like, yes, we own the IP, we want Microsoft to put Transformers back out. All right. That's the kind of thing that started making me go, all right, look at all the stuff that Activision has done in the past, the things that their names were on, the teams that they owned, and the stuff that they were doing that could either get remakes, re-releases, backwards compatibility, end up on Game Pass, and or just be like, all right, time for a new one, right? Since that game came out like 20 years ago, 20 years ago, you know, it's kind of time for like another one, and there's so many new characters, new mutants and so forth, and of course, now Miss Marvel is a mutant, so you put her at the forefront, right? And you make a new game that has these characters, and I think it'd be really dope. Really dope.
I'm all for it.
Real quick before we move on, Jokes. We were discussing Killer Instinct and the fact that Microsoft announced that Iron Galaxy was going to be back doing an update on the most recent Killer Instinct for the 10th anniversary.
Okay.
Of Killer Instinct. What's your history with Killer Instinct? Did you ever play before this new one came out?
I didn't play until it came to 360, I guess is where it first came to it. That was my first introduction really to Killer Instinct.
So you're talking about Xbox One then, because that's
one. Yeah,
there hadn't been one since the N64.
Yeah, I didn't play it on the N64. Definitely once it came to the box was my first experience with Killer Instinct.
Interesting. It feels like there might be a need to go back and hook up some old consoles and make some content. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. So listen. let's talk Evo. There was a lot of announcements that came out of Evo this past weekend. Tekken 8 stuff, Mortal Kombat stuff, Street Fighter 6 stuff, a lot of stuff. We're gonna start by watching the trailer.
Cool.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not. No.
He knew it was coming.
He said.
Come on. He set it up.
All right, let's try it again. Evo announcement show. Here we go.
All right.
Hey, 16.
He's 16.
Goddamn, go.
I feel like
Yes,
Oh,
yes, we did.
oh, this my barista bag.
hey, bro.
Soy la reina del café.
Day one, I'm going right to the
Coffee
tutorial,
queen.
bro.
I feel you, bro.
I'm going right to the tutorial, bro. Day one.
He gonna be a beast.
He is.
¿Es hora de entrar? Aquí viene el espectáculo de su cena.
And the bobbing and weaving. Perfect beat, man.
Hey, bro.
El café es la bebida número 1 en el mundo. Je te
Not mad at that.
supérieur.
That's kind of dope, right? I see they fighting in the Lost City of Gold.
Yeah.
Vamos a divertirnos.
He's showing up like Batman.
¿Tienes
He's
café?
running coins out here.
Necesitas más café.
Not that Peruvian coffee, bro.
El café es lo mejor.
I'm so excited, dog.
I need
Hey,
shorty
dog,
in my life.
Azucena, dog. Sin,
Yo.
they also had a new trailer for Raven, which Raven was one of my guys in like Tekken 6.
I
'Cause it was
remember.
based, I mean, it was Wesley Snipes, but initially.
Yeah.
But then in like 7,
It
they
switched to
made
his
Master
daughter.
Raven, which was a
Yeah.
which it's weird because it's like it's not the same person or whatever. So I don't know if Master Raven is going to be in this, but they did do a trailer for Raven. We're not gonna watch that joint. It's cool. I'm just glad that Raven is back because I preferred Raven.
That's one of the things I've always loved and appreciated about Tekken. It's just like with each one that comes out, like the character might be the character's older, they get a whole different look to them. Their kids start getting involved with it, and they become a part of the roster. I've always loved that when these new Tekken announcements come out. Like, all right, what character's gonna be there? How's the new look? Like, I love Paul's new look, and I know that's your guy. I like his look in this one.
You know, Paul is my guy.
So
basic.
I know very well. Trust me. Okay.
Paul and King, bro.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah.
Here's my only issue with Tekken 8 right now. No release date yet.
I know.
I think the earliest is January 2024. I've seen. That's the earliest I've seen.
But we were on this somehow in the price. That joint was coming this year.
Right. But
I feel like it's almost too late for that. However, considering the number of characters they've already revealed, how it looks, there is Gamescom, Paris Games Week, and Tokyo Game Show. I feel like we will get a reveal by Tokyo Game Show. Oh, people definitely still play Tekken.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Tekken is like that. We're gonna get in a little bit of that history too. Jokes, what's your history with Tekken? You don't do much Tekken, do you?
I've played Mortal Kombat more than I've played Tekken. I think just kind of for me growing up, I didn't gravitate to a lot of those initially. I don't think I really got into Mortal Kombat until PS2. I did play a couple of the arcade, especially like Pizza Hut, being in there and playing it than anything else. But I don't really think I really jumped into fighting games truly until around the PS2 time for me.
Okay.
So Soul Calibur 2 was probably the biggest one that I got into and got in pretty heavy with when that came out. I think that was really the one that was like, oh, this is kind of what I like. Ivy became my character real quick. Like this was me learning and having to learn her combos. You know, honestly, it was getting online playing versus people and seeing like, oh, damn, you can do all this and then go into.
You're talking like, but then that means you're talking like Soul Calibur 4 or like 5 or something. You're right, Alfonso King is like that.
Because Soul Calibur, if I remember right, Soul Calibur 2 was the year they gave us. I believe that was when it was Link, Darth Vader. They had like those special guests
and Yoda at the time.
Yeah, I believe that was. If that was
no. That was 4.
That was 4.
So you're talking about when they had Link. They had one character that was a McFarlane character for the Xbox.
I remember Spawn. It was Spawn was in there.
They had Hihachi.
Yeah. And then when the Star Wars one, it was Darth Vader, Star Killer, and Yoda.
Because each of them were exclusive to a console. Okay. That was 4?
Correct. Yeah. When it was like Yoda, Star Killer, Darth Vader. That was like Tekken 4. I mean Tekken 4, Soul Calibur 4.
Ew, yeah, I know I played 2.
Two was PS2, Xbox, GameCube, and they had 3 different versions that each had an exclusive character.
Yeah,
because I bought all 3 of them joints. They got me.
I remember.
They got me. Bought all of them joints.
No, Soul Calibur 2. Yeah, Zelda was definitely Soul Calibur 2.
Well, I've been playing Soul Calibur.
Link,
Soul Edge.
Yes.
I've been playing Soul Edge. Yes.
Soul Blade. Soul Edge.
Yep, I've been playing since all the way back since they started.
All of the above, bro.
Yep.
Let's talk about this real quick. I wanna get into a little bit of this. Let's talk a little Street Fighter 6.
Well, what we getting?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Today, bro.
Okay.
Today.
Now they said costumes. Are they actually playable?
They are.
Look like it from that trailer. Yeah.
For other characters, like they're costumes you can put on other characters. They basically like outfits.
Fits. Yeah.
You can put on. So it's not. You're not really playing as the turtles.
Right. You're playing as right.
You don't have. It's not like how it was in Injustice.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's more like there's a skin for each.
Got it.
Yeah.
Joint. I think that's cool, but I'm so sad about it. DBZ fighting games over every. All right, you know
now,
what?
Now let's see. Now I'm in Perp's bag with this. Like so that the Budokais for me, like that was the era when I like. Oh, I'm gonna nail combos. Like this is where I really got into it. So the Budokai Tenkaichi, absolutely love those. I had them on, was it PS2, The PSP.
No spoiler boys for me. I'm the only one who saw it. I mean, I can tell you that if you have been a Ninja Turtles fan for as long as I have been, which is from the very beginning, this joint, in my opinion, leaves a lot to be desired. It's good. It's just not for me. It's for a new generation, and that's cool.
Right.
I don't like the new backstory that they've given them. It's cool though. Music is great. I love the animation, even if I don't always love the art style. I mean, I think the turtles look incredible, but almost all the rest of it is pretty funky looking. I will say that I do know that they are doing a new show based on this movie. And I did talk to our good friend Jerry Gaylord. He did work on that show. He told me that. We talked about it like last week.
Okay.
And I knew he had worked on a project
right.
that was related to Ninja Turtles while he was at Nickelodeon. Just he wasn't able to talk about it.
Yeah, and it takes forever.
But now that they've
announced finally show up.
Yeah, like years, bro. So I don't know if you saw it, Perk. Again, I didn't hate it. I did enjoy it. I feel like I was just disappointed in a lot of ways, though. I had so much fun with it. I've seen it 3 times already. And the fact they got a series that's going to build up the sequel has me intrigued. I mean, I'm with that too. The after credit was kind of what I needed it to be and where I needed it to be. Again, there are just elements of it that I feel like are very different. Let me put it to you this way. Ninja Turtles comes from a time when ninjas were the greatest thing America had ever seen. They were everywhere and they were super important. And it wasn't just ninjas. It was like everything Kung Fu fighting was like coming out of the 80s into the early 90s when you're talking like Surf Ninjas and Three Ninjas, 9 Deaths of the Ninja, Black Belt Theater, like
American Ninja 1 through 25.
Exactly, dog. Michael Dudikoff all day, baby.
All day Dudikoff.
You know what I mean? Like when Van Damme was like unstoppable. You know what I'm saying?
Kickboxing.
When people were just being introduced to like Jackie Chan, even though he'd already been doing movies for like 15 years, you know what I'm saying, or whatever.
Rumbling the Bronx.
All of that kind of stuff. Like ninjas were like a pinnacle of like, yo, you could, and like they dumbed down their story and their skill and their abilities to a point that made me feel like, oh, this is why they couldn't be Batman, because they're garbage now. Like they don't have a real background, and they removed all of the background that like Splinter came from Japan and like, had a master that was a kung fu master that knew how to do A, B, and C, and then he passed that on to them, and so that's how they learned it. It was just like literally this joint was just like, oh nah, so they need to defend themselves, and so they watch YouTube videos and learn how to do kung fu, and I'm like, that's so dumb.
Yeah,
like that's just so dumb.
Yeah,
and I hate it. And so it's like, so then they're not ninjas,
right?
They're not they're not ninjas. They never learned that. They don't have those skills. Like it's and so while there are elements of it that I liked, because the first time they get in a fight, they're literally like, yo, we've done a lot of training, but I've never been in a fight before. Like I'm scared. Like I thought that was really dope. And then they start to realize like, oh, actually we are kind of good at this. You know what I'm saying? I think people who really, 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 really love this and love what's happening with it are definitely the Raphael fans, because my man's anger management in this joint.
1,000.
What?
Okay.
What? My man is just like, I want to fight. Like, he's just like
jokes. He's Kevin Owens. That's what he is. That's what
got it.
All right. So listen, let's do one more, because I'm not sure about this. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raging Storm!
Fatal Fury.
知らぬユニコーンファイナルクンダ
I saw these powers.
昇降拳
ヒブリゼーレゲイタ
Rock. Parry. Yes. Just yes.
野郎伝説
Yes.
City of the River
My man is ready.
Yes.
He's so ready, man.
You know I love Fatal Fury, bro. Like, give it to me, bro. Give it to me. I don't
Furiously in
care.
development.
Give it to me.
We ain't seeing that for a while.
Hey, look, that's all I need to know. It's coming. I'm good. Andy, Terry, Joe. Oh my gosh, my king. Oh my gosh, bro. Let's go. I am here for it.
King and Fatal Fury is that's my young.
Kim Cap1, come on now, bro. Let's go. Mary Blue.
Now let me
Bruh.
let me get really real with you real quick. I never loved Fatal Fury.
I know.
Now, King of the Fighters is a little bit different.
You know that KOF is my.
I know
like,
KOF.
Yeah, that is my.
Point.
Yeah.
It's something about the timing. You know what's crazy about? Look, almost everything in that time period when that joint came out was a Street Fighter knockoff, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Fatal Fury is definitely in there. The difference with Fatal Fury is that Fatal Fury was created by the person who technically created Street Fighter. Like Street Fighter 1, not Street Fighter 2, when that joint hit and went bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Slim left Capcom after Street Fighter 1, ended up with SNK, did Fatal Fury when Street Fighter 2 came out. The difference for me is that Street Fighter 2 actually felt like an evolution over Street Fighter 1, and Fatal Fury always felt like it was still on Street Fighter 1 level. Like it just never felt as good or as smooth to me to play. Did I play the bejesus out of them joints? Yes. Yes. Because almost anything that was a fighting game in that time period, bro, I played it. Bro.
I ate them all up. What? I am a fighting game like enthusiast, pretty much. Like even now, I'll see some Clay Fighter. I didn't like it.
I beat the brakes off Clay Fighter. Like, Clay Fighter, Clay Fighter 2, Clay Fighter 33 in the third, bro. What? Like Bad Mr. Frosty, my guy, bro. Like it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, fighting games was like, I mean, they were everywhere, right? And it was really hard not to feel like you were playing something that was a dupe of something else. Fatal Fury led me to Art of Fighting, which Art of Fighting I love because Art of Fighting, you had the different planes. You could jump forward and backwards and be on different planes. It was like the first 2D joint that was kind of like, well, we're going to do something 3D in this. And it felt to me like we're taking Final Fight, but we're just making a fighting game out of it. You couldn't walk up and down, but you could really get with it. What's up, Zay?
And then King of Fighters came out of that. Like coming to the arcade and seeing King of Fighters, we were like, hold up, Fatal Fury characters in this. Like, what's going on? Art of Fighting characters in this. Like, what is happening with this game? It's new characters, just people from all like their all the different properties or whatever, just coming in for one massive fighting game. Then every year, 98, really like 99. They just kept dropping.
That first big crossover that they did, that was really all their own characters because they had all these different fighting games. And then sometimes I think it was kind of hard to tell them joints apart, from each other. All of those SNK fighters. But I was much more of a Samurai Showdown guy than a Fatal Fury or an Art of Fighting. I love Samurai Showdown. It felt different. It was different. Weapons, losing your weapons. Up in that.
Yep.
But what? Samurai Showdown was like
Ukyo, the back blind swordsman, bro.
What? With the apples, bro?
Yeah.
Look at Hey, listen, my guy was Juve, but like,
okay, I was it Genjutsu when part 2 came out?
Well, see, that's the other thing is that like
I was
in love with Samurai Showdown, and then I really got that. Like that was around the same time I really started to like really get into anime, dog. And when I started like seeing the similarities between who these like Ninja Scroll and they're Samurai Showdown is Ninja Scroll, dog. Like it is, bruh. It's the same characters. It's like I was like, oh, that's what this is.
And I love every bit of them, Alfonso. I still like fighting games. Like probably one of my it is one of my top 3 like genres of games to play.
What?
Like even when I'm just searching the PlayStation store, the Xbox was on sale. Like, oh, what's a fighting joke? What's this? All right, just give it to me. I just grab it, just give it to me. Yeah, I'm ready. I've always loved like just going in and learning about the characters and their backstories. They be looking so interesting and so cool a lot of times, and going through and figuring out their move sets. And I just am a sucker for that all day.
It's a whole thing for me. I like Sin and I definitely have a fighting game history that runs together in a lot of ways.
Hey, Street Fighter Alpha.
The dream match, bro.
Hey, Joe, there was a way you could play the Jones at the end. Ryu and King could fight Bison and it'd be co-op. Bruh, we would throw that joint on the hardest level and just go to work.
They should have never
go to work.
They should have never, bruh. Like that was like, and I mean like anything. Saturn, Dreamcast, PlayStation.
Yep.
It didn't matter, bruh. Like 64, we played them joints. Anything they would put, you know.
My library right now of fighting games is thick that I got to get around to. I got so many and I barely scratched and touched.
That's part of the problem. So look, so this Fatal Fury joint, like I'm a little, again, I would love to have gotten a release date, but the fact that it just like it's here and we're working on, the fact that they just recently did a King of Fighters, to me, what that says is that King of Fighters and the Samurai Showdown that they did within the last couple of years, they did well enough to go, all right, we should do a Fatal Fury. Yeah. That in combination, I guarantee you, the fact alone that Smash Brothers, they like haven't. That did it. It was just like
Terry Bogard.
Who is this dude?
He a beast.
Who is Terry Bogard? Oh, you about to find out.
and not too long ago, they put Geese Howard in Tekken.
Correct. They put Geese Howard in Tekken.
The big bad, yeah.
So it definitely is one of those things where it's like, all right, it's time for us to like. There's enough interest. There's enough brewing. It's
that
time
you can
for
go
us
ahead and do the new
for
game.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering since it's like City of Wolves, are they gonna do like a Street Fighter 6 aspect where you're walking around beating up people, or is it just a full-on, just fighting game?
Straight fighting.
It is possible. I mean, it's very interesting the way they called out like the city. You can hear all the different voices of the different characters or whatever in different parts of the city. So it's a possibility.
Regardless,
but also it could just be
on 10.
Look, one of the things about Fatal Fury that was different from Street Fighter was that Street Fighter specifically labeled itself like Street Fighter 2 is Street Fighter 2 The World Warrior was the name of it, and every character was from a different country for the most part. There's a couple like E-Honda and Ryu were both from Japan, but other than that, like everybody was from somewhere different. And that I think was one of the most interesting aspects of Street Fighter that I felt like drew people in, right? That they made a big deal. Like when you picked your character, if you think about it, it was like if you picked Guile, they didn't say Guile's name. They said USA. Like they made it because if you remember, nobody knew how to say Guile's name. Everybody called him Ghoulie.
Yep, Ghoulie.
Something like they was calling my man all kinds of stuff. They was because they didn't say his name, right? So it was if you picked Chun-Li, they would say China. You pick E-Honda, Japan, like Brazil. Like they made it. It was about where they were from, and that was like, okay, so they have these different fighting styles, and they're different because of where they come from and so forth.
Right.
Where Fatal Fury is that city. It is a lot like a Final Fight. It has that kind of a look.
And it had a story, like kind of back then. Yeah, with Street Fighter was just people representing their country and,
I mean, it's not that Street Fighter didn't have like everybody had an ending, which I think was the first time we had that. Like the fighting game had every character had a different ending. And so it was like important for you to get good and play with all the different characters so you could see everybody's endings. But the story didn't make any sense, right? And you didn't necessarily know until another one comes out, like what is supposed to be the canon of that story. But it was so popular, they had to do an anime, they had to develop a story. And it's like, for real, like Chun-Li just Oh, all right. Now she worked for Interpol. Okay, cool. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
like,
Whatever,
it's like they started creating the story around that. We're like after the first couple of games,
right?
Like, we got to really start building this thing out for the future and everything.
Yeah, I think Fatal Fury. I think SNK as a company in developing their fighters, they always had a story in mind when they developed them in the first place, which I think made those stories even more interesting. Across the board.
That Capcom versus SNK 1 and 2 was a highlight, bruh. That was I can distinctly remember nights upon nights of fierce battles in my man basement. A bunch of us gathered around just going at it, bro. Psycho Ken was a terror in the basement, bro.
Hated him.
Psycho Ken I was a threat with him in the basement.
Believe it. I can believe it, man. Let's just do it, man. Let's go ahead, and we already kind of into it, but let's talk about our fighting game history. I'm probably most interested, honestly, in learning about yours, Jokes. I mean, I know you've given us some, but again, me and Sin,
y'all were in the thick of when
bro,
it
in
was
the trenches.
And I'm gonna say, like, I was not. I hate that I wasn't a part of that, because I feel like, one, you had a good variation. By the time for me, I felt like it was just Mortal Kombat, Marvel versus Capcom, and the occasional Street Fighter. Those were like the only 3 core things in Soul Calibur. Eventually, those were like the core ones that I was exposed to. Like, my first fight, crazy. When I say it, it's gonna be like, yeah, that makes sense.
That's actually my first question. Is what's the first fighting game you remember playing?
It was a Power Rangers game. That's the crazy part. It was. I know, but it was me. Come on, it was. That
makes sense. But it makes sense.
But it's the intro to it. It was called the Fighting Edition. So obviously, when I first heard it, it was kind of like, okay, this is a little weird. And
what was it on?
Super Nintendo.
Okay.
So, but this joke was, I'm sure it was the Megazords fighting each other, and it was almost. I was like, okay,
pretty sure I rented that from Video Outlet,
and I'm like, okay, the Megazords have combos and can do stuff. Like, this was a little different from coming from Power Rangers. Like, I obviously watched on TV, see a Megazords throw down, but I'm like, okay, this is in a video game format. It was pretty cool. So, but you had like Zords from
yes, Alfonso. Don't play with us. Don't play with us, Alfonso.
Let me tell you something, dog, about them Eternal Champions, bro, and them finishers, bro. Stage fatalities, dog. Eternal Champions was Sega's joint, bro. There's 2 of those too.
I'm going down.
But that I would say was like my first time really experimenting with what was a fighting game. On PlayStation 1, it would have had to have been Star Wars Masters of Terraskoski. Yeah. That joint was not easy.
So let me start by saying, dog, I'm very disappointed in the fact that like your first 2 fighting games are those.
Yeah. Like, hey, listen. Rifle. I'm not. You know what? Normally, I would combat. This type of thing, but I'm not honestly not mad at these. Like, I wasn't necessarily exposed to it, but I didn't necessarily have friends that played those games. Had I had friends that played those games, probably just like you guys, I would have ended up getting into that bag. But it wasn't until later on. Marvel versus Capcom, I would say, would have been probably really where it was like, oh, like
the
X-Men.
First Marvel versus Capcom?
Pretty sure it was the first one, because this would have been during like high off of Spider-Man in the 90s, the X-Men in the 90s, and then actually seeing them like those characters kind of on screen.
Did you not play X-Men Children of the Atom?
He don't know what that is.
I don't even know what that is. So
it was before Marvel's Capcom.
Yeah, that would have been. But Marvel versus Capcom, I would say, was probably the real first dive into the real. I guess.
So let me just give you a little. So the problem, the thing that became the running joke for Capcom was that Capcom couldn't learn how to count to 3. So they did like Street Fighter 2 and then Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition and then Street Fighter 2 Turbo and then Street Fighter 2 Turbo Championship Edition and then like
Ultra Turbo Edition.
Like it just went on and on and on and on, right? But they were the kind of updates and upgrades that people were looking for. Like when the original Street Fighter 2 you couldn't play as the same character. Like 2 people couldn't pick Chun-Li.
Play
2 people couldn't pick like the closest thing you could come to that was somebody could be Ken and somebody could be Ryu. That was it. Right? And then when Championship Edition came out, the thing that made it the Championship Edition was the fact that 2 people could be the same character and they had different palettes for them. So like it was the original blue Chun-Li, and if second player picked it was the red Chun-Li, right? And it was Championship Edition because it was like there was always people who would be like, I mean, you nice with so and so, but I'm better than you are with Chun-Li. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Okay, well let's see. And now you can finally have 2 people as Chun-Li face off to see who was better. Like that was a real thing. So
Alfonso, come on now, stop playing with us.
Dog, listen.
Come on now.
Pit Fighter was not even really a fighting game.
No,
Pit Fighter is like a brawler in one room, dog.
You're right.
But like, you know, Pit Fighter was a precursor to Mortal Kombat because it was the first time I saw like digitized people, like actual. My man Ty, listen. Anything that was fake Van Damme, bro, I was on it, bro. My man had the split punch, the Johnny Cage split ball punch.
Ran some Pit Fighter, bro. Ran some Pit Fighter.
3 players, simultaneous, me, my brother, and my cousin in the arcade dumping every quarter.
Same thing with me and my brother. Me and my brother just scrapping. What?
When that joint came to the Genesis, you couldn't
tell
me nothing,
all night long, bro.
Bruh, like, so Capcom did the X-Men game, which was X-Men Children of the Atom. Okay, so it was a fighter. It was basically just like Street Fighter, but it was all X-Men characters. Then they did the X-Men Cross Street Fighter game.
Right.
They did that joint. Then they did a Marvel Superheroes game. So the Marvel Superheroes game had the Infinity Gems. As you were fighting, you could grab the Infinity Gems. It gave you different abilities, blah, blah, blah. And from those games came Marvel versus Capcom eventually. Right? So,
oh my gosh.
What? Listen.
Children of Adam, she could take people's powers, fly over, kiss them, and then take their abilities. They took that away before I was so high because I used to clean up with her.
She was Shang Tsung in that joint. She was Shang Tsung. So like those joints, bro, like, and honestly, they just elevated it. Like by the time, like, I think it's Marvel Superheroes, the first time they had like the super jump, where like you could jump double the height of the screen or whatever, and the whole joint would go up. You had these long combos that were battles in the airs. I believe that Children of the Atom is the first time they had supers. Don't quote me on that, but it's one of those. The first time they had supers, where they had meters and whatever. So it was like this whole other like. There was this whole new way of playing the game that was different from just timing and knowing the moves. Because originally it was just that was all it was. It was just timing and knowing the moves, right? And like once you learned, like with Street Fighter 2, for the most part, was like Ken and Ryu. Once you learned that a Dragon Punch was invulnerable, you could do some amazing things. It was like they were the cheat code. So, Sin, do you remember what your first fighting game was?
I want to say Street Fighter 2. I want to say that's what it was. Like seeing it in the arcade, I keep running past. It's always crowded. And fun fact, the reason why I play Ryu now to this day is because back then in the arcade, I would see people always playing Ken. And once I learned that back then Ryu and Ken was the same person, just a different, just a different skin on them pretty much. Yeah, and I'm looking like, why doesn't anybody ever pick him as the same person? Like nobody ever touches him. So I just did it off of that, like, well, whatever. And I just ended up getting good with him just over time. So that's the reason why I use him to today. But no, Street Fighter 2, I would say is my first one. So I remember when it came out on Super Nintendo, me and my brother got it with the Super Nintendo, and we would just lay down on the floor in the apartment and just go ham for hours on each other, bro. Just go
100%.
in. But I think Street 100%. Fighter 2 was my first one. And ever since then, like, I'm talking sitting down, reading the instruction manual, looking at the characters in the back of the instruction manual, like,
if you look at like they had their blood types.
Yeah,
in the book for like Street Fighter, like it was real.
For something, for whatever it was, that just spoke to me, like getting to know all these details about these characters, and I just wanted to get more into more. Wherever a new fighting game come out, Fate of Fury, I'm on it. Let me get it. I'm in the booklet. Okay, that's what's going on with him. That's what's going on with him. Learn them, using them, and just I've ran the gauntlet ever since then. I have not stopped yet with them. Like I can think of so many obscure fighting games that I wish I could just get a remake of and
100%.
run them. Oh my God, Star Gladiator, Battle Arena Toshinden,
Bloody #1,
Bloody Roar,
Bloody Roar. What?
It's so
Fighters
many.
Megamix, dog.
Oh,
Fighting Vipers, bro.
Yep.
Beating the
armor off Vipers. Hey, with the Daytona USA car.
Replay.
Hey, working with that Daytona USA car, bro. Let's go.
What? Hey, dog. Yeah, it was terrible, dog. Joke. So your first fighting game experience was at home.
Yeah, it was at home. Eventually, going to Pizza Hut.
Hey, listen. Let me tell you something. Zayna used to mollywop back.
Hey, listen, you told us you told us those stories like
her and Amaya. Shout out to Amaya. Happy birthday, Amaya.
Hey,
I had to do the same with
let me tell you something.
An ex of mine. Went over for a cookout. They had just got Soul Calibur. I'm like, bro, I've had this for like a year now, bro. Like, don't even ask me. And
that's the other thing. We was jumping on, like, we was importing the Japanese joints and rocking early.
Yes.
Hard, bro.
And then when it comes out over here.
ST key for the Saturn, and that joint would let us take like Japanese games and run them. It was basically, there was a cartridge slot in the back of a Saturn that looked like a Genesis cartridge slot. There was this joint you could buy called a ST key. You basically pop that into the back of the joint, and it basically made your console region free.
Yeah, I had a joint like that for my PS1 that allowed me to play the Japanese game. When I found that out, that became
it changes everything, dog.
It made it a problem.
We were jumping on joints so early. Marvel vs. Capcom, Japanese version, early. Dreamcast, Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Going right to Game Facts. Okay, how do we figure out how to maneuver this menu, bro? This is Japanese.
Reading the Japanese. Printing out manuals, dog, because
no, we printed out a booklet for rival schools too, bro, just to get through the story.
I was just getting raised that, dog. Rival schools, dog.
I need that back
Street
to this
Fighter
day.
EX. Like that transition from like 2D into 3D was super awkward.
Yeah.
Because it was awkward for all gaming.
Yeah.
But the transition, like I was like Alfonso just brought up Virtual Fighter. When Virtual Fighter came out, bro, I remember walking into the arcade and seeing a Virtual Fighter cabinet and being like, bro, that joint looks real. These
this is incredible.
square guys they look so, but it wasn't how they look. I didn't, at the time I didn't realize it, right? Because I didn't know enough to know. It was like them joints were 60 frames per second. It was the speed and the timing and the mocap. So like Virtual Fighter was the first joint game that was like 3D, but it also had like motion capture. And so when they were fighting and doing it looked real. The bounce they had in their movements and their motion and so forth looked real. And like the attract mode that they had in the arcade, which is basically just that thing that plays over and over again when nobody's actually playing the game to try to bring you over to make you play
around the characters and everything.
Was like, hey, dog, this joint really 3D. Ring outs. That was the first joint with like ring outs where you can knock somebody out of the ring and like complete. Like you didn't have to be better than somebody. You just had to get lucky enough to get them
to the edge. Yep.
Catch them with a throw. And so like Virtual Fighter was like, oh, all right. And that joint became so popular. Then Tekken became super popular. And I was not a fan of Tekken in the arcade. I didn't like Tekken in the arcade. I think Virtual Fighter was a better fighting game. But Tekken was more technical. And I learned Tekken on PlayStation because I got snowed in.
Yeah, they hit you with
got
the left,
snowed
right,
in with
the punches and
Brian
left, right,
Turner and Jose Jarro and didn't have a choice. Had to learn. So I got tired of losing. So I didn't have a choice. I had to learn how to play it. And we were snowed in for like 4 days. And just had nothing to eat but Kit Kats and egg rolls and play Tekken and loaded.
And guess what? That was a bomb time.
What? What? Hey, listen. So like those, like that transition from 2D to 3D, because then very quickly came Soul Calibur, which again, motion capture, the movement, the motion, the characters, the fact that they had weapons was very different from like anything else that was out there in terms of 3D. Because the only other like weapon-based fighter we had was Samurai Showdown that I can think of. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it. Do you have a preference, Sim, between 2D and 3D fighters?
2D. I'm an old school just sucker for my 2D stuff. So anything Arc System Works is putting out nowadays, I am a fiend for. Like I said, all the little fighting games I be finding the web, like Melty Blood and just stuff like that. Like I'm so in on like just the hand drawn pixel stuff. I love it. Like I'm still a junkie when it comes to fighting games. So something 3D comes out, I'm like, all right, let's get it run with it. Yeah. But I really just gravitate and love like them hand drawn 2D animation ones. So
I did that. What about you, Jokes? 2D or 3D? Doesn't matter.
2D. Like I like the 2D ones a little bit better. Like with I guess you would really consider like the Dragon Ball Budokai Jones to be 3D, but they just had
it's really 2D with like 3D. It's like a 2.5D.
But I like the aspect of what they did for that. But when they switched and went to Budokai Tenkaichi, and then went to like the camera being behind you, and then you kind of had a little bit more of the freedom to move, I was like, this is okay, but I really prefer the 2D type of fighting style, honestly.
You prefer that more. I don't think I have a preference. I think I personally have a love for both and what they do. I remember when 3D fighters first came out, and just that, initially you didn't have any projectiles in 3D fighters. It was just you getting these hands, and that's it. And so the need to sidestep or move,
no worries,
was a big deal. What's up, Andrew? We just glad you're here. So like that kind of sidestepping was like a new element that I just really enjoyed. And the first 3D fighter I remember having projectiles was Street Fighter EX, and it wasn't great, but it was a new element because it was like, all right, so if you throw a fireball, you could just sidestep it. Like it completely changed the way you had to think about playing the game, because before your alternatives to a projectile coming at you were block, jump, or throw your own projectile, right? Or if maybe if you had like a dragon punch or something, you had something that could counteract it, right? You could time it and do a dragon punch to it or something like that. But you were very limited with the addition of a sidestep and then being able to close space. It just kind of changed the way you had to think about it. So I actually like really enjoyed that. And once I really grasped the concept of left punch, left kick, right kick, Tekken, that changed everything. I still like Virtua Fighter better than Tekken. I think it's a better fighting game technically. Then I think it's more fun. But Tekken, man, that like the 10-hit combos, I just wasn't anything like that.
Tekken for me is my relaxing. It sounds crazy, but it's my relaxing game to play. Like if I'm looking for something to play, it's one of my comfort foods. I can just throw in Tekken and just relax and just be lost in it and just have a good time. Like that's a fighting game for me. It's just comfort food. Like I just really enjoy it.
At this point, it's so familiar that like I don't play it often enough that like I stay good at it. But when a new one comes out and I jump in and I start playing, the muscle memory starts to come back. It starts to kick in, right? And then it's just a matter of like relearning some of the timing, because they'll change like very small things. But that also was like timing and frames. That's the thing I learned in Tekken, because 10-hit combos, sidesteps, and movements were so specific to that. And Soul Calibur, being from the same team but being weapon based, is such a different fighter. It's a completely different fighter.
Me and my man used to live in Soul Calibur, just tutorial mode. He's practicing one move. Once he figures the timing of it, all right, now let's apply. So we start banging for real in the tutorial, whatever, till he gets the timer down and learns how to pull it off. Then we switch off. We got Raw just sitting in tutorial, just practicing these moves on each other, trying to get them off in actual combat. Yeah,
all day,
getting busy with
it. Just like we literally just sit down and watch somebody else play and be like, nah, like I can hear. Like you would learn by the sound of the clicks of the control of the buttons. Like, hey, your time is just a little bit off. You got to speed that up a little bit. You hitting that a little too late. Yeah. And it's like, it sounds so crazy, but that's what it is. It's so technical. What is your favorite 2D fighter of all time? Sin, you first.
Favorite of all time?
All time.
I'm probably going to go with Rival Schools 2. Just the memories from Rival Schools. Like, I probably would play it now and be like,
Rival Schools is, I guess,
I just have a lot.
Is that 2D? I guess it's 2D.
It's the 3D look, but it's 2D. But just off of, like I said, just
sidestepping though.
Fair enough. 2D wise, then it would be KOF. It will be King of Fighters.
All right. The first joint or just
98. 98. 98. Don't play with me in 98, bro. They had to nerf my guy Ralph because I was putting Babbles to sleep. Jokes, my man Ralph had this punch where he would jump 90% of the screen and throw the haymaker of a life. If I hit you with it, you are done.
It's over. It's a wrap.
Playing with dudes, they would be just
hot.
Hesitate, just wait like, come on. I got my time with science. As soon as I see you do one little thing, he cocks back. You see that shine. Every time they just drop the control, like, damn it, he got it because it was unblockable. Yep. You just had to be full length.
We had a dude used to run with us. Our man Ali used to call him Mr. Infinity. That dude could see the frames. He was like Neo in the Matrix. In the Mission. We just right now we're just kind of talking about what our favorite ones are and so forth, kind of going back and forth. But since talking about some Rival Schools, that's right. That's Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur 1, Soul Calibur 2, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's their best joint. I love that joint, bruh. Soul Calibur 2 was like
Soul Calibur.
That's Joseph, what's your favorite 2D fighter ever?
I was thinking because like we were just talking about like the Budokais. Like I don't think you could do none of the sidestepping and anything until they got to the third one, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. But in the first and the second joint, it was just straight left and right. Like when you would do like the clashing where like if each of you shot off like a Kamehameha, the camera would do like the slight camera change just so you guys could sit there and like spin the joysticks on the controller. Oh, I've definitely broken some controllers off of that.
I bet you did.
Off of that show.
And I'm gonna go Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I think is my favorite. You're muted, Sam.
No, I said that would be second for me. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That was just.
I think that's my favorite 2D fighter of all time. Just the number of characters. Young and just try and pick your character, young and in the background. Just I'm gonna take you for a ride. Just in the back of that joint. It's just like all the people, and then just my team in that joint, bro.
Who's your team again? I know it was like Dalsim,
Anacharis, and anybody.
Yeah, I hated you. I hated them.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right, what about 3D fighters? Zangief was your guy, Sam?
Oh, my triple 13 was Juggernaut, Zangief, and Ryu.
Hey, listen.
Try me.
Zangief, I was nasty with the 360 power drive.
I would break out Evil Zangief and go ham.
100%. 100%, bro.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so favorite 3D fighter of all time. Jokes.
Oh, I know what mine is. Okay.
3D. I get when you say 3D, you're just talking about visually wise, you're just talking like how you can move around and
how you can move around. You don't really play 3D fighters, do you?
Everything I've probably played has been
other than like Tekken,
Mortal Kombat. Like
I did not like that game, and I took it right back to the store.
Terrible.
That was garbage.
Look, I see Marvel Nemesis, but then I see by EA, and I'm just like,
Hey, look, that's when I work at GameStop. That's when I work at GameStop. I checked that joint out one night, came on, played it. I brought it back the next day. Like, nah, you can put this back on the shelf. I don't
Put
want
that
this.
joke back on the shelf.
Yeah, that's some garbage.
Go terrible.
Yeah, I don't think I've really everything. I think for the most part that I played, like obviously Soul Calibur, that was probably really me being introduced when you were able to move around for like dodging and things. So it really changed the game on how I had to really think about playing. Like when I realized you could do that, because I think in the trailers they didn't initially allude to that, but once you start playing and realize that you could just hit down and your person would just sidestep and like, oh, I could just sidestep your punch right now. I don't necessarily need to block the jump.
Very different. What about you, Sam?
I know what it is, and it hurts because I haven't played one in a while because of the cost of getting into this game with Dead or Alive. It is without a doubt Dead or Alive for me. But
like you're saying as a franchise, like Dead or Alive 2, like is there a
no? I don't have a specific title. That's the one. It's just Dead or Alive. I remember I fell in love with when it first dropped. Like just me and Tina was a beast.
Because
Dead or Alive on the OG Xbox.
I feel like Dead or Alive, if I recall, was the first one that had like a rock, paper, scissors that actually mattered.
Yeah.
And like whether you're doing a punch kick and the reversals, bruh.
Sick. And they did Dead or Alive. The tag, oh my gosh.
Oh man. Listen. Hey, listen, you just did something. Oh,
come on, Gage. Yeah. Let me talk to you.
Dog. The hours, bro, perfecting like combos, bing, 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 tag, bing, bing, tag, bing, 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 tag, throw. Like yo.
You give me Tina, you give me Hitomi, bro. I am going in, bro.
So
Helena.
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't think any fighting game ever, especially not 3D.
Yes, Zay.
has had better timing. Like I'm talking about button press to like action on screen timing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's ever been a 3D fight. There's nobody does it better than Dead or Alive.
Those triple moves they were put in that game. Dog, power slam, boom, neck break, crash, switching up with the next motion, bam, just keep going through them, dog. It was insane.
Yeah, like I can't even wipe the smile off my face thinking about that joint. Like,
I want to play it so bad, even right now.
Dead or Alive might be the most underrated because that joint is incredible. And I do hate how Tecmo just nickel and dime you. They be like, yo, $1,000 you can have all these outfits.
Dog,
stop it, dog.
Yeah, the character price tag they put on that stuff is so inflated, bro.
And then they put them on sale, and the sales are still insulting.
Right. Like, it's $100 for these 5 beta suits.
I can't remember if it's 5 or 6 now. I mean, I know 6 was the last one.
You know what? I haven't pulled up.
They started adding virtual fighter characters to it. They put like Pi. Oh my god, dog! Pi Chan virtual fighter, bruh. 3 P's and a K, bruh. Like bing, bing, bing. Like just what you going down, bruh. Like it was so. The sounds of that joint, like the sound of a beatdown.
Why is Dead or Alive 6 still $79.99?
Bro,
because they not playing. But here's the thing. But at $79.99 though,
oh Lord,
what are you getting? Because they always do it as like a core, and then they have, then they have a joint that has like some part of a season or whatever, and they do all these seasons and add all these outfits, and it'd be wedding outfits and tuxedos and bathing suits and whatever, and like
them. But y'all,
I do too, bro. But y'all,
exactly.
Nah, they're not getting that. They're not getting that out of me.
Dead or Alive 6 Core Fighters.
Here's a new hairstyle.
Yeah,
Core Fighters is actually free right now. And then
Core is free.
Yeah,
they swap out the characters.
Yeah. Regular Joan is $59, and then there's the digital deluxe that's $79 currently right now.
But when you start going to look at,
what do you get?
Yeah, because when you start looking at their character packs, bro, they be.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. But they
damn.
But they're
damn.
Yeah.
It's a lot,
damn.
right?
I'm
Yeah.
still scrolling. Oh damn.
Yeah.
Oh damn.
So
80, for like $80, that joint probably at this point, as old as that is. But this is the thing, they'll ghost announce a Dead or Alive like at the end of this year or whatever for next year, and I don't care. I have to have it. I have to have it, bro.
Facts.
There's the one.
So
there's
yeah,
the one.
I was waiting for B to fish. I put that up there.
There's
put
the
that
one.
up there.
Oh,
So Vendetta's garbage. I'm just gonna put it out there. I just like for all the look. You just named an EA fighting joint in Nemesis, terrible. Vendetta, terrible. Fight for New York is not a wrestling game, but almost it is the closest thing to WWE, like WrestleMania 2000, WCW Nitro. That joint has the best specials. It feels so like to this day, as ugly as that joint is, looking at it now, bruh. The punishment. That game.
It's nothing like putting Sean Paul Elephant Man in front of the train and let it run over him.
In front of the train. Both of them going in front of the train, dog.
Yep.
That's it.
Yo, the TV too much for that. Him getting up and getting back up, like stay down there.
Hey, listen, No Mercy was like that. Like again, in wrestling games, honestly, I put in a different category.
Right.
I consider them sports. But like, whew, yeah. But Fight for New York, is a special kind of crap. All right, let's go on hard. Let's make it this a little more difficult. Favorite fighting game character, period. All time.
You know what?
You could take any fighter from any game and put them in any game from any fighter. And like, if you could always like, who is it?
Just you could. Hey, listen. I know for the most part, this character for most people means absolutely nothing, but it Kung Jin, Mortal Kombat 10. This is probably the best person that I ever rock with in a fighting game. Like,
you were dope with Slim.
And hands down, I don't like. I know a lot of people probably. You want to rate this dude next to it, but for me personally, because this is the dude that I will damn near say I almost mastered and was able to actually compete in a tournament and damn near win the jump.
Yeah,
and I will say Kung Jin just purely off of,
I ain't mad at that.
Not mad at that either, but just purely off of the fact that this is a dude that I was able to get in, learn the controls, damn near master, and just body folks with them.
Sin? I know it's hard, bro.
As we've discussed, we've had me and you, Gage.
Got a lot of history.
We have history when it comes to fighting games. So I know there's people I'm of course forgetting about. But as I sit there and think, there's one person that just keeps coming to the top of my head, and it's Tina from Dead or Alive, bro. Like it's Tina. Like,
I'm not mad.
God, I love Tina, dog. Like me and her,
I'm not mad.
wrestling, and I'm a beast with her. Like, I'm a certified beast. Like, you can throw her in the game for me.
Dog. She's strong and fast and throws and like.
I get it. I lay them hands. I put them hands on you. You gonna take damage, bro. Because it ain't about to stop.
When you're going in these electrified ropes,
what? German suplexes, arm bars, man. I'm just running through them like Tina for me. Tina DOA.
You know what's funny? You already probably know who I'm gonna say. It's probably Dhalsim.
I knew it, that bastard.
Does that mean you got your ass?
Hey, listen,
I'm not gonna lie. All the time, bro. I've yet to beat him with Dhalsim. Like, I hate that dude. Like, Jokes, understand something. Dhalsim was a character that I thought was absolute garbage. Like, I thought he's a trash character. Why would anybody pick him? You know what? I met B. And you know what happened? We played Street Fighter. He beat the shit out of me. Straight up. I haven't beat him yet, bro. And ever since that day, to this day, I've never looked at another character as trash ever again. I just
100%.
Yeah, never. I will never look at it down on the character.
Some people will take those characters and
Yep.
turn them the complete opposite.
Hey, look, when we was at MagFest, and me and you was playing Undead Night, and he jumped in and found the stretchy dude. I said, I ain't playing. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not doing that. It's only a matter of minutes before he figures that out. I'm not doing that.
Once I get it, you know, this is the thing, right? I felt the same way about Dowsing, right? But like, I realized the barbarian ain't gone.
That's not a fighting game, though.
That's not even a fighting game. My man just said, "Listen, I'm going hard. Like I want, give me a sword and some draws,
and I'm here, baby."
I mean, I like it. Dowsing, I like unorthodox characters, and I don't mean like so unorthodox that you can't even hardly look at him like Valdo from like Soul Calibur, because like that's just a little bit too much.
Hey, bro, we get a real One Piece fighting game, bro. You using Luffy? I just got to see it, bro.
God,
like him. So Dowsing, Anachorus was just like him. Moves that go all the way across the screen. This is what they did to Dowsing, though. They gave him the one thing he really needed to truly be competitive, which was a teleport. Bruh.
He didn't need that, bro.
He didn't.
I hated it when they
gave
gave
him a teleport, dog. I'm talking about a slow fireball across the screen.
No, it's a cheat code, bro.
No idea what I'm like. A teleport that you could do on the ground, in the air, teleport in front of you or behind you, at full distance behind you, right behind you. Like, hey, Slim,
put your defense up. You better block,
bro.
All right, Jokes, fight him.
If I throw a slow fireball and I teleport behind you, Jokes, which way do you block?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know how it really works. Like, I feel like I would block you. I feel like the fireball would hurt, but I feel like getting hit by you and then have to worry about another combo coming out. I don't know.
Here's what's tricky though. Even if you manage to block me from the other side, if I teleport to the opposite side of you and I throw a kick from distance, right? And you go to block that, the fireball, when it hits you, is still doing chip damage. You're still going to take damage from that joint anyway, bro. Anyway. Cuddy said we would play Gage. We had rules sometimes, and no Ken and Ryu, and Gage would be the only one that could rock with Mr. Listen, because Ken and Ryu was so basic. Ryu, like, so basic, right? And it's like, not everybody's great at them, but everybody knows how to play them. Like, you know the basic moves of a Ken and a Ryu, right? Something like Guile takes a little more skill, I think, to pull off when you have to have that 2-second timing before you can throw a Sonic boom. You have to have that timing charging down before you can, like, it takes a different kind of timing. You have to know, like, when that fireball's coming, you're going to take a hit. But if you're holding down and you hit that fierce kick, that double long-legged, like, sweep is going to land, right? Like, you had to be, so, and again, they both also were the only two characters at the time that had invulnerability of any kind. They could just dragon punch through. So, like, it's typical. You throw a fireball, you jump. People do that. It's basic, right? Not if you fighting one of them, because they could dragon punch and be invulnerable to the fireball and hit you with the dragon punch at the same time. Like, their air defense was stupid. You know what I'm saying? Their air defense was stupid. And you follow up with a Tatsumaki Senpu Kyak. Like, it's a wrap, dog. Now, and like, listen, Yoshimitsu. Let me tell you something about Yoshimitsu. Greatest crossover fighting game character, I think, ever.
I ain't mad at that.
Ever. Because Yoshimitsu is a threat in Tekken and in Soul Calibur. He's a threat on both sides of that joint, bro. And I used to hate him because, man, Jose, man, that Bama was so good with Yoshimitsu, dog. Hated him. You just never knew what he was going to do. And again, that's one of those things you just learn to respect the kind of unorthodox characters.
Yeah.
Akuma is like Ken and Ryu, but like to the 8th power.
Yeah.
This is like, it's a little, you know. So I like that. And it just, Dowsing for me is like, if you give me a character, like when they started putting out, when Capcom was like, oh, we're going to do a fighter, but it's all monsters. Anachorus. You just give me a dude who can wrap people up and put them in a sarcophagus from across the screen. and then you put them together in Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah, stupid.
You should have never.
Stupid. Now, yeah, Mitsurugi is one of my guys in Soul Calibur for sure.
Love Mitsurugi too. Straight up. He's a classic. Some of the best.
Put that sword in that sheet. Yep. Put that sword in the sheet. Come on over here. I dare you walk over here. Watch what's gonna happen to you. I dare you come over here, Slim.
Ooh, and you just look. When they come in, you just wham, wham, wham.
You poke him with the joint, and then
yeah, Mitsurugi is like that, dog.
Yeah.
Mitsurugi. Listen, it's just like I used to love like Jeffrey in Virtual Fighter. He just had Slim would just pick you up and just, but the same thing with King and Tekken. Once I learned how to grab you and never let go and take your entire life bar.
Like I said, me and Tina, like I grab you and I keep running them all those different 3 joints. Yep.
You in trouble. You're in trouble. All right, here's what I want to know. Who is because we just had this conversation, I kind of know what I think you're gonna say. Who is the character you hate to see the most?
Douse him.
On the other
Douse
side.
him ass. I'm sorry, part of my language, everybody, but I gotta get the fuck Douse him. I'm sorry. That is all because of Gage. That is all because and it's not just him. Anybody that stretches, that's what pops in my head. I don't like you. I don't like you.
Since kryptonite is anything that stretches.
No, it's not. It's just a hatred. It's not a kryptonite. My kryptonite is when somebody plays my character that I'm using. That's my kryptonite.
Yeah, you're right, because that's what happened. Remember when jokes get that?
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
Because you cheated. That's why you cheated.
But Sin just said like his favorite character, right? In like King of Fighters, he had a fight. He could jump across 90% of the screen and could hit you and could land it, and you couldn't block it. That's him. I would tap his face while he's on the other side of the screen. I would just tap his face with a fierce kick. Pow! I would have hit. You know what I mean? Like, concept is the same. He could reach you from across the screen. I could reach you from across the screen. But his character had to literally travel the whole distance, but to do it, and he had the timing down.
And that's all. Stop him. Yeah. Once it starts, it's you couldn't stop him like by hitting me or anything. Yeah. He just does it.
Jokes. Who do you hate to see on the other side? Who do you hate to see on the versus screen pop up? I know it's not a fight game. And you watch Twisted Metal series. Are we getting spoiler boys? So you just watched it, right?
Yep, I finished it. Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know what to expect going into it. By the time it was over, I can honestly say I really enjoyed it. Like I had a blast watching it. Once you get past, I'll say the first 2 episodes, just to understand the world and the story. Yeah, it's 10 episodes, 30 minutes apiece. You know what I'm saying? Once you get past the first, I would say 2 episodes, you learn like what type of show it is and the comedy and like the bloody violence and all that kind of stuff. I was dying laughing, like just having a blast just watching it. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed where they're taking season 2. We know it'll take forever because of the strike.
Do we need to do a spoiler boys for it? That's all. I mean, because we weren't planning on it.
I'm gonna have to watch it somehow.
I'm just saying. What do you mean somehow? I mean, you got Peacock, right?
Yeah.
Time.
Okay.
Time.
I mean, if we have the time, sure. You know what I mean? Like, cool.
I mean, if you think we should do it, I'll just find a way to make time for it. And
I'm honestly, I'm not opposed to doing it. I think, like I said, I think it's a lot of fun. You know what I mean?
It's worth it. All right.
I would say yeah. I would say yeah. Just because people seem to want to know that about it. You know what I mean? Is it, is it worth the time or whatever? I think it's worth it to at least have the conversation about
wrap the whole series.
Yeah, just do the whole series.
In 2 parts. We'll do 5 and then 5. Maybe just because of time.
Okay,
we can get 5 in and do. Yeah, that may work.
Actually, I really enjoyed them. Like I said, once you get in, you get to understand the world and all that kind of stuff. Him and Quiet, the 2 main characters, were like I loved watching from where they started to where it ends up. In the
I was gonna say I've heard nothing but good things about Anthony Mackie.
Yeah,
really. Nothing negative.
Great. Yeah, great. Like the combination of Will Arnett and Samoa Joe pulling off the clown.
I mean, I heard that was kind of unnecessary. Like they probably could have really just let Samoa Joe do the voice acting for it, but
they could. But it worked. I'd have a problem because Will Arnett
his voice fit perfectly.
Yeah,
I'm down. We can do that. Right. Jokes, who do you hate to see on the versus screen?
I've been thinking, and like I can't. I honestly can't give you a solid answer on that. Yeah. So at least more recently in playing like more of the recent Mortal Kombat and stuff, I typically will play through the story and I'll play it on one of the harder modes. And I will say I'll get to someone that may be a little bit of an issue. Like I'll give you like last Mortal Kombat, Kronika, who is the last boss that you're gonna fight, and you gotta fight her like 3 times. I would say she was a pain in the ass. And it took a good, even though you're using your extra heightened abilities that you have, she's still just a pain in the ass. And I would say that's probably been one of my more recent ones that I had to put the controller down, walk away for a little while, and then come back and pick the controller
before
up.
I break this controller.
It'd be them Tekken battlers for me, them Tekken bosses.
Like, listen, 100%. For me, it's pretty much always the boss characters. It used to be in Bison. It's pretty much always the boss character. Like, there was a time.
Nothing, just I just had flashbacks when you said that about. Oh my gosh! Like not every single, but 2009 date around that time, every boss of King of the Fighters. I would break the damn TV.
You broke the TV?
Yeah, I mean,
oh my gosh.
It's a little different. It's a little different if you're talking about facing an actual person using that character.
Yeah.
For real, that's not even really a big deal for me. I don't really have a character that I'm just like, oh, I can't stand it. Well, you know what? I kind of take that back. Eddie Gordo.
Oh, anybody can just just give you hell.
Button Mash King Queen.
We talked about that earlier, Doctor Who. Somebody asked about that.
We definitely talked about that joint.
Maybe we should. It's technically it's not a fight. Maybe we should have said Fat Joe, Joey Crack.
Yo, no, that is crazy. That's crazy right there. Getting punished by Joey Crack, dog. I ain't gonna lie, dog. Fight for New York. Sub-Zero hated good service. I feel you. Joey Crack. Snoop Dogg was a problem in as the boss in Def Jam, and because I'm definitely knocking Slim out this window. Yeah, it isn't necessarily like a particular, like if a person is playing them, that's not really, I don't really have that, but like the boss characters though, they're always so cheap, bruh. They always cheap, bruh. It's just 100%. It's so fluke. That just always kind of messes with me. All right, last question, and then we can wrap this up. What's a fighter what needs a new game? Something that hasn't been announced, something you've been waiting for, something you wish could just get a new iteration that like maybe hasn't been getting them or something like that.
Well, I got Budokai announced, so I am.
What up, BP?
After at least 10, 15 years almost since the last one. So that was probably the answer for the one that I would have wanted. I just need a release date. Other than that, I really can't think of getting it. We're getting all the main fighters right now, getting their sign. I don't know
right now.
I don't know if we need to do Marvel vs. Capcom again. Like I feel like when they did the last one, it couldn't hold to what Marvel vs. Capcom 2 did. So I don't think I need that anymore.
I'll be honest, like if they do another Marvel vs. Capcom, I need them to be able to let go of the idea, the concept that there has to be a story. I don't need a story.
Then they need to keep it. They need to stretch it outside the MCU.
BP hit the nail on it. Injustice I will take, because you know what? That's another one. Actually, that's another character that I got good with. Supergirl on Injustice 2. I got real good with her. I haven't touched that.
Let me tell you something about Black Canary in that joint,
bruh.
Ooh, yeah, I feel you. Supergirl was dope though. OP. I'm gonna keep it a buck, jokes.
Once you learn
Girl was
how
OP in that
to
joint.
use her,
She was OP. She was like that though. I don't know if you saw. I was playing that joint like a week ago.
oh, no,
I was
do
all
joint.
in that joint, dog. Like, you know what? I still got outfits and stuff to get.
No, I haven't got that.
I'm gonna tell you something. And Sim will tell you he hated it. Swamp Thing, dog.
Yeah! Another one of them stretchy bastards, dog. No.
So like that in that joint, bruh. So unorthodox. I love it. I'll be honest. I want a new Virtual Fighter. I want Sega to like batten down the hatches and just like, come on, bruh. Give me a Virtual Fighter. Let's why are we doing Shenmue 3? Like, give me a Virtual Fighter. Stop playing. You know what I'm saying?
Apparently somebody asked for it.
Everybody's been asking for it. It just didn't land the way everybody expected it to.
Of course not, dog. Because they made it just like they did in the 90s. It was so old and it's like nasty. And the thing is, they technically continued those games with the Yakuza series.
Right.
So like everything that they've done to elevate what that series technically is in the Yakuza games, they took all of that out when they did Shenmue 3, which was so dumb.
Yeah.
I want another Virtual Fighter. I would love to see those characters. I want Ryu Hayabusa and Squad. Like that's what I want. I want them cats fighting on a beach, crushing. I would take a Rival Schools hard in a heartbeat. I would take a Rival Schools. I don't need another Marvel vs. Capcom. I would be okay with it, but I don't need one.
Shoot, you know that's what I got it in the back. I'll take another Gundam Battle Assault game. Like I just love.
Of course you would.
But listen, I need something like that is just, you know what, it's not a game as a service type of thing. You know, you can add some more Gundams into play, because right now Gundam in these games are getting axed left and right. And I'm just like, just give me another one of these fighting jumps that I can just go into and just have fun with. I booted up the original PlayStation started. Do you
have EX Boost?
I did not get EX Boost.
It's on sale right now, PlayStation Store. So get it for the sale's over.
Look at my man. Look at his face.
It's on sale right now because I'm even thinking.
To me jokes that like your entire fighting game history for real and the joints that you want are all like their IP that are already another thing.
Already.
Your first joint is like Power Rangers.
And that's true. And that's just
Dragon Ball. It's Gundam. That's so weird to me. That like, because I feel like those games aren't good. Like not that they're bad. I just don't feel like they come close to being anywhere near as good and as technically sound.
Technically wise,
as you know, because like for real. Even like my concern with a joint like Budokai is that I feel like it will unfortunately be just like all the rest of the anime fighting games they put out.
The Arena Fighters. The Arena Fighters, yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, they're just Arena Fighters, and it's like, it's cool. You have the characters, and that's cool. Like, you want to see the characters, you want to see them do the moves. They have the sound and the music.
The only Arena Fighter that I accept is Naruto. I don't.
Yeah, just leave Budokai the way that it was. I'll be fine. Because Exen, and you've taught me well about this. Every time that we've gotten an announcement for one of these anime games, Sinister every time. Listen, it's an arena jump. Just don't get excited.
I don't care. The Jujutsu Kaisen jump. They announced the Jujutsu Kaisen jump get in the game. It's gonna be an arena fighter. I don't care. I do not care.
Same thing.
And I'm not buying.
Literally like they take the same game and the same engine and they just slap a new outer coating on it.
Yeah, that's it.
Like that, but that's what you do with those kind of like that IP. Like, I'm not with it.
I wait till they get their own identity. Naruto is the only arena fighter that I play. That it makes sense within that universe to have it that way.
Sure. Yeah. I don't, you know, I do find that very interesting though, that like you lean towards those joints jokes, and that it seems like it takes for there to be characters that you're familiar with from an outside genre like an anime or something for you to really be interested in like a fighter or something like that for me. And like what's funny about that is that like with something like that, I would almost much rather have something that's story based or more RPG based that has characters like that, and then it be a fighting game where you're just like, well, let's just put these characters together. And I mean, I guess part of it is because there was just so much of that, man. Like I love them Turtles fighting games from like the early 90s. And every joint was different. The Tournament Fighters joints, the one on Super Nintendo, the one on Genesis, the one on 32X, the joint on Sega CD, they were all different.
They used to do that with those type of games. Like they did that joint like with the Power Rangers, the movie game. Like the joint was completely different. If I had both, I had to have the one on Super Nintendo and I had to have the one on Sega Genesis because they were completely different.
That's what it was, man. Like Mortal Kombat 2. I had SNES, Game Gear.
Yeah.
Game Gear joint was like that, bro. Hey, listen.
That joint ain't
Andrew,
never.
let me tell you something.
That joint ain't never.
You are 1000% correct that that is the game the universe owes us.
Yeah.
Facts.
The universe owes us that joint.
I left work and drove the game Pandora's to get it for me and B on my lunch break.
What?
the Street Fighter Tekken joint.
That Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And here's the thing: people act like that joint's not good.
No, that joint was fire.
Crazy.
Yeah,
they're crazy. That game is so tough.
Yeah.
There are 10-hit combos mixed in there from the Tekken dog. They did work on that joint. Story is stupid, but it's cool. It works. You know what I'm saying?
It's Capcom. Yeah.
What do they just fall into each other's universes and it's like boom?
Yeah, whatever, dog. Who cares, bro? There are, but then they always do that thing where, like, again, like the last Tekken joint, you got Akuma in that joint. They added Geese Howard in that joint. Like they do these guest character joints, and they just be like, all right, why y'all playing around?
Just do it.
Well, let me get the joint. You know what I'm saying? But the other thing about it is like, but Tekken has been so popular and doing so well that they have to do a Tekken 8. They can't not do a Tekken 8 and stop and do a freaking Tekken Cross Street Fighter right now. That would be stupid. I still want it though, dog. You know what I mean? They used to do stupid stuff all the time. Just give me another stupid joint. You know what I'm saying? Fighters Mega Mix.
Stupid joint, but fun.
Was one of the greatest. Bruh, Sonic Fighters, Virtual Fighter Kids, I had all of them joints, dog. Just little chibi kung fu masters beating the trash out of the big head mode. Like big head mode was like major, bruh. And I'm like, I'm all in, bruh. And it's like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like playing fighting games in that era was like memorizing song lyrics. Like you just knew everybody's moves. You just knew the move sets. And at some point you would just like, you get good with somebody, you just jump out there and you try somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Then you learn something. Or you see somebody else do something with them and you just like, all right, let's see how that you can freak that. Let's do that. You know what I mean? Let me try something else or whatever. I would spend days in training modes, bro.
Yeah, live there, bro. Just trying to get it all down.
Like it was nobody's business. Like when Tekken Tag came out,
we can boot it up right now. I'm just saying, bro. we can boot it up right now. I'm just saying.
Say less. Say less. My joint is ready to go, dog. I got an entire on Xbox you can make the different groups. I got a fighting game group. Everything is in that joint, bro. Everything is in that joint. You say less. My old joints, my 360 joints are in there. Say less. We can do it. I'm down. All day. And day. On the block. Not by myself.
With my squad.
With my squad. All right, man, it's been a super long. Oh, listen. A better Jump Force. I mean,
Jump Force was cool. Like, I just.
It was solid. Yeah, it was solid.
Yeah.
Arena Fighter.
But again,
it was a little different. It was a little different.
No, it was not different. The look of it was different, but it was an Arena Fighter.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, bro, like it feels like we're in this.
Oh, I didn't give my joint to bring back.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. What is it?
God, there's so many games I would like to have a new joint to play because there's just so many. That's all. But you know what? I'll go left with something that I just was personally into. Give me Battle Arena Toshinden.
Like, dog, listen. I would take a new one of those joints, a new Tobal #1.
Yeah, give me Battle Arena. I loved all three of those.
I can't think of the joint now.
Oh, here's a joint that I know you guys have talked
that
about.
That wasn't Battle Arena Toshinden.
Bushido Blade. I was going to say Bushido Blade.
Let's say I've heard y'all talk about that a lot.
Now, let me tell you something. There's a joint that just dropped on PC. It's coming out on consoles later called Sklash. SCLASH.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2D, like side-scrolling fighter, but it has like it's just like Bushido Blade. It's not 3D though. So it's like a one hit kills, but it's all like fighting and defending. So it's you're blocking, jumping over, zipping past each other or whatever, trying to land that first blow. And the first joint, like that's it. And that joint looks it looks like it might be a threat. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that looks like Bushido Blade, just 2D. Man, I used to love Bushido Blade, bro.
Come on, that was late. That was all nights, bro.
Little joints cutting down.
Hey, Joseph, we did them anime jumps when they running through the high grass side by side. Mm-hmm. That's what it was, bro.
That's what it was.
That's what it was,
bro. I mean, that's what it was supposed to be, except it was PlayStation 1, so it was like,
I mean, yeah,
a little held back, just a little held back.
Nah,
for the time though,
the bamboos down, and that joint had one hit kills. You could, if you hit somebody in the leg, their leg would go down. Now they dragging themselves.
Yeah,
you could hit them in their arm, and if you hit their arm that they held the weapon in, they just walking around dragging that joint, trying to win a fight, bro. And when you would win a fight, but you was seriously injured and close to death, what? Man,
talk your itch.
In the snow.
What with the blood trails?
What? Bushido.
You try to run off like, nah, he over here somewhere I can follow the blood.
Yeah, bro. Hey, like it feels like here's the thing, jokes. I like you missed something special. Like you really did. Like in this like renaissance that we're getting in fighting games, where it's like, man, we really getting a Street Fighter this year, a Tekken this year, a new Mortal Kombat this year. Like with all of those, man, listen, that Mortal Kombat, I didn't play the Mortal Kombat trailer because just like it's so nasty. But hey, this Bama Reptile's about to be a threat.
Dog. Hey,
I saw that earlier today. Yeah.
Shoot, bro. You hear me? You know what?
He said, I go.
You know what, dog?
Bro,
there's no good reason really not to at this point.
Earthrealmers aren't ready to see the real me.
He got the little tail.
So how does it work? You just shape shift into anything you want?
I can shift only between this and my natural form.
Whoa.
That I could take human form made me a freak among my people. I was terrorized. Run out. You misread my intentions, princess.
What's that happening? My intentions now.
I am Ashra, demon of the Netherrealm. I appear nearly human because I've purged most evil from my soul. My sister demons were furious at my change of heart.
Hey, dog, she?
Yes, ma'am.
Word.
Astra and Sizos, come. The monks must prepare you for war.
You will accept chaos by choice or by force.
Killing one realm to free another is a heinous proposition.
That whole arm thing.
One I won't let you fulfill.
He just uses his arm to second.
Yeah. What is love,
Out
dog?
for you too, size off. To catch me, they must see me.
Huh? Damn.
Woo!
My man Striker, dog.
I know.
Him and Dave Reed.
You hit it with the Blue Lives Matter.
Straight up. Terrible.
I'm sorry. That's disrespectful. Like you just shake your own arm off and beat up the person.
Take your chaos elsewhere.
Yes, man. Oh, saw that one.
Dog, listen. I need that joint so bad, bro. My pre-order is in. I don't even care about the beta access. I'm gonna play it. I don't like, dog. I have to have that joint. I have to have that joint.
Oh God.
I can't not have that joint. It is.
It's not out yet, but it's going to be available on everything.
Yeah.
So,
September 19th.
yeah.
So just so you can see, this is everything that is going to be available on. I mean, Switch, bruh, it's probably going to be disgusting. But Switch,
At least it's
Xbox
there.
Series, consoles, and PS5, bruh. And to get Shang Tsung access. That pre-order, dog.
Shang Tsung should not be a pre-order character. Like, he should just be.
Hey, listen, that's a fight we can have. Like, at this point, dog, what you gonna do? Because you're gonna pre-order the joint anyway. Like, so yeah, like I need that joint. And the fact that we're getting the three biggest joints, Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. At least I think we're gonna get Tekken this year because they haven't given us a date. But
yeah, it's PS5.
Oh, most certainly on PS5.
Yeah, it's PS5.
definitely PS5. So to get all of them joints this year, plus they gave us Guilty Gear updates, new season. Like it's just like this renaissance of fighting games, dog. As dope as it is, still, bruh, like we're not in that phase of experimentation anymore like we used to be, where they would just do things that just didn't exist. It's much more common now for there to be like a breakable wall.
Have
another
PS5. Got it.
Oh, gotta go series or Switch. You know what I mean?
Heather?
Be that time. What's up, Heather?
I don't know about that Switch. Series S may be the better way to go.
But you know what though? But I heard zero complaints about Mortal Kombat 11 on Switch. So somehow they must have managed to make it happen. All right. We're gonna wrap up the fighting game special. Probably go fight. probably gonna fight. I really want to do I feel like we should maybe do a series of just like introducing jokes to like old fighting games. Saying,
Oh
I'm mad at that.
There's so many.
I know, which means
so many.
I know, bruh. I feel
listen,
like
if it's a joint on one of the older consoles, like I'll get it.
Definitely.
I got the adapter. If I can get my hands on the game, I'll plug the adapter up and stream that jump.
like, bro, I will tell you right now that most of the games I have.
Oh,
already,
you got the box down there on so
my original PS2 is right there, dog. It's right there.
I actually don't know where my original PS2 is. That joint is in a
With hard drive. But and it's a fat boy. Like I'm talking about.
Oh no,
OG,
I still got my fat boy too.
OG PS2 ready to go.
I got a fat boy and I got the
Dreamcast are
Slim.
right here, ready to go.
Dreamcast
Right,
is
Sin?
up on the
Like-
landing over here.
Yep.
They ready to go.
I don't know
We
what
can
my
make it
little
happen.
NVM, whatever that thing was called that went in the controller.
Yeah, NVU,
Yeah.
memory unit.
Probably got stacks in them jumps.
All right, Jokes. You got a job to do.
Gotcha.
Jokes put the beacons link up for everybody. I want to thank y'all for hanging out with us while he's doing that. We had a great time talking old fighting games. We're gonna do some more, one-offs like these, some specials where we just kind of zero in on one thing for the evening. I had a really good time.
So did I.
Doing it and getting some of y'all throwing out stuff like Eternal Champions from back in the day and
going down memory lane.
Little bit. Some of it was harsh and some of it was great. Like there's some bad fighting games, man. I'm telling you, Jokes.
Yo,
I'm gonna put you on Clay Fighter, dog.
You can have that. You can have Clay Fighter.
Whew.
Was a stretchy dude in that joint, Sin? Is that
yes. Why? Taffy dude or whatever. And I hated him. Him.
He was actually whack. He was actually whack, dog. But it's an Elvis impersonator in that joint was like that, dog.
Don't let a One Piece game come out saying there's a fight game because you're going
to I understand. When One Piece first started, I didn't like Luffy because he stretched. Then I watched it and I realized, oh, this is different. It's rubber. It's not stretching. You are mollywopping people when you hit them.
It's still different. Stretching, though.
It's still stretching, though.
It's different. It's stretching the stretch and then using like a rubber band type of deal. It's a little different.
It's elasticity.
Yeah.
All right. Sin, you got a job to do.
Let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, and Ellis Mbe. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Hey, shout out real quick one time, just in case y'all don't know that Doctor Who y'all see in the chat all the time is Meticulous Skin.
Mm-hmm.
That is her company. She makes some wonderful beard and skin products. Like y'all search up Meticulous Skin. Good people and appreciate that patronage, like we do everybody else's. But just in case you hadn't managed to put those two things together, thought I'd say that. Yeah, again, we had a great time talking this evening. I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. It's been a blast. By all means, if you think of some fighting games that you think we should go back and have Jokes try that he probably never tried, shoot them my way. Shoot them our way. We'd love to put something together. I think that's the thing we need to do. Maybe we can do something for Extra Life around that.
That may be kind of cool to do.
We could see about putting something together for that, even if it's just like going through like the tutorial of a joint and picking a character and being like, all right, let's go in, let's spend like this much time learning the moves, trying it out, and then to see how far you can get or something like that. I think could be really dope.
Not mad at that.
So I think we'll maybe try to come up with something around that. We do have still a lot of things going on. It's not too much happening this month, but things are going to pick up again next month as far as conventions and stuff are concerned. So let's keep your eyes peeled. We do have some content that we are still going to get up for you that is from Otakon. However, Otakon did things a little bit differently this year where for certain interviews and things that they gave us access to, we had to send them copies of the interviews first for them to approve. And in some cases, they have said, these are changes we would like to see you make to it before you post them. And so we're working on getting some of that stuff done. So there is still stuff from Otakon yet to come, but just kind of keep your eyes open for that. We'll be working to get that stuff out to you. Some of it is a little more tedious than other parts of it, but there is still some stuff
over. What is we summon over here?
Gotta get it in. Gotta get it in. All right. So for myself, Gage, for Center for Jokes, this has been your fighting game special of 2023 for Loading Snacks Weekly. Jokes, tell the people what I need them to hear.
Remember, y'all, just because you got a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we are out. Toodles and loos.
Loading Snacks